Hello everybody, this is Loki and welcome back to Phoenix, right? So we're gonna go ahead and continue from where we last left off and continue the trial. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian, no way, not Cole, selected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager, it would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner as well, her. So, after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button on her Hanukkah. Because she was the one who came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yeah, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial is over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of the day. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix? You think her motive is related to Sully and Pat's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impact as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly offed herself. Sound like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Kurita. All to get the suicide note back. It sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Butter stated Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regard to Miss Impacts. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep at it with this one. Kurt would now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution called the witness, summoned by the court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Kurita's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ingard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yeah, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. And would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Kurita. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So the fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Remind me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship to the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. Okay, let's see here. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and then there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Then how come she didn't drink it? You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix? She's one cold and collected customer. She had the brain to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who'd easily get thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she lays suspected. The instant you let up on your offenses, the instant this trial is over. Understand? Okay. Have to push on the third one. Press. And I have to do it on the fifth. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Mr. Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. Yeah, that's true. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. That is not true. You have the point. I see. Okay. I had a double look. Juice. Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There was no lip marks left on his wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Mr. Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself a glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. If her mind was blanked at that time, then why did she pour herself a glass and not drink out of it? That's the thing. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Mr. Andrews? I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the crime scene. What I really want to know is, what is this mistake? Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's just kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime scene photo? The mess of the glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell into the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. And that's why people always say don't tamper with the crime scene. That's why. And it's like yet another fact had come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. You testified that you knocked over the flower vase over. Is that correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell into the guitar case? Is there a problem with what I said? Yes, there's a problem. It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Mr. Andrews? You testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's true. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Take a look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase is scattered on the floor. And what's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not on the outside of the case. Ah, that's true. What's your point, right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? Objection! No. Think back at when Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She emphatically say she didn't touch that guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It had no bearing on this case at all. But what if it held something else in there? That may very well be, however. The empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Okay, let's see. I have to clean my glasses real quick. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach first jaws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along for now. Mr. Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I could have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, I don't even know. It looks like this really was an important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. It's like, weak! You're weak, weak, weak! Okay, let's see. Go ahead, press on it. Objection! There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on the guitar case are those of the victim. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left fingerprints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? She could have used gloves. What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at that time? gloves. But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the word ceremony, so I'll try to dress up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seemed the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. We're wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is it strange? Do you have something that will prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? The wine glass. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Is she getting nervous? We caught her in a lie. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself the glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? She got so nervous right there. Her glasses broke. Order, order, order! Looks like you hit a nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, draw all your presumptions. What was in the guitar case? What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be natural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact on that case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lure us all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Mr. Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it's wide open in the photo of the crime scene. I'm sure the guitar case has some relation to the murder. Yeah, I'm sure of it either. What if it held something else? If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow sanity your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that should have been in that case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest that he was gonna say bright black guitar. So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I won't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proved anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? The Nicholas Samurai or Lotto's photo? Photo. Lotto's photo. This is a photograph. Yes, but what's important is that what is in that picture, Your Honor? In the picture. It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is, inside the guitar case with the Nicholas Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there to be something like that? That insane point will be to wear the costume, of course. Mr. Andrews put on to hide her identity so she would make her escape. After all, you can't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a good scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot correct. You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we have wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know, with my strategy, speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside the costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. Nico Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt in guard. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? Spare? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nico Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare. Mr. Injard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nico Samurai costumes at the Water Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? That would mean the victim himself brought the spare to the ceremony on purpose. Yep. But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the drama ninja. Why would he secretly bring Nico Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a particular act? And there lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nico Samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? So think carefully before you answer. And then the answer with a gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nico Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Press conference took it. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nico Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nico Samurai was supposed to confess him at this conference. I heard this as well. For once, you're not making up something, right? But what struck me as strange is that Mr. Ingard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference at that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, it can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Kurita himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nico Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Kurita was going to hold the conference at the Nico Samurai. He was going to dress up at the Nico Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet, however. What I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. the Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I would wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Trida posing as the Nickel Samurai was going to speak about Matt and Jard. Yes, I guess that's what it would mean. But if that's the case, it's not confession, that's public disclosure. Not true. Miss Andrews, I can see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Really? Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him. That was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Engine this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful, it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? Yeah, I'm like, what in the what? And do you know what the secret of Matt and Jared is, Miss Andrews? That's something only one knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Matt and Jared? You have to protect him? And yet again, another strange bit of truth come to light, it seems. Mr. Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. I wonder if I could just pause and save her. Nope. Gonna have to do this. And then save. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and call it here for now. Let's see if it's the right one. Yeah, it's the right one. Gonna go ahead and call it here for now. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button below. And subscribe for more videos to come. See you guys later. Bye guys.